kind of a wayward path. I did many different things out in industries, from waiting tables to being an office manager to running my own business. My husband and I own a company called Banners Plus, and from that, I'm an avid reader on team building and leadership skills. And people, through our contacts through our banner company, started asking me, hey, can you give us advice on this? Can you come talk to our teams about that? And so along that path, I eventually created a side business called
Welcome to D50 After Dark, where we have conversations with the most influential Toastmasters in District 50. I'm your host, Mickey Bennett, and in today's episode, we will be meeting our quality contest chair, Bonnie Dubin. It's going to be a great conversation.
Hi, Mickey. Glad to be here.
Well, hello, Bonnie. Welcome to D50 After Dark.
Thank you.
So you are our district's quality contest chair, which basically means that you're in charge of the contest season in District 50. Is that right?
Well, yes and no. Yes, I am, but it's going to be more the behind the scenes stuff for the district for this season of contests. So I'll be helping with the organization, making sure to give guidance and oversight to be sure that we have quality material, both in our written literature, if we're going to do any kind of advertising and those kind of things, as well as the speaking topics and things, to be sure that we're on target with that, and just basically keeping everybody on track of deadlines and the how-tos and the whatnots of how we're going to do the first in-person contests that they've had in a while for Toastmasters.
Okay, well, I'm very excited for that. So in our next conversation, we'll get really deep into all the workings of your role as quality contest chair. But first, my listeners just want to get to know a little bit about who you are. So Bonnie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have been working for Willis-Knighton Health for 14 years. My primary function here is talent management. So I teach leadership skills and communication, conflict resolution, different topics that have to do with person-to-person contact. I come from corporate training world, so I've been doing training on these different subjects for quite some time now. I love what I do. I have a great staff that also does recruiting as well as engagement for a health system that has almost 8,000 employees now. So we're big.
Wow. So your profession is communication and leadership, huh?
Yes. As best as I can do it.
Yeah. And now you're in Toastmasters. Tell us, how long have you been in Toastmasters?
Just a little over 2 months.
2 months. Wow.
Yeah.
You may be the district leader I've talked to who's newest to Toastmasters. That's impressive.
Well, either that or insane, one or the other.
Well, from the conversations we've already had, I can see why you were selected to have a leadership role in our district.
Thank you.
Not only is it your profession to teach your employees about communication and leadership, but you have been in another organization for a while, the National Speakers Association.
I have, and I became an official member of the National Speakers Association, or NSA, about 20 years ago. And though I'm not fully active in that organization since I've been with Willis-Knighton, I really learned a lot about the speaking profession by joining that group those years back. It's been quite the journey.
Yeah, well, so let me ask you this, Bonnie. Without selling it too much, because we want our listeners to be all in on Toastmasters rather than running off to the NSA, tell us a little bit about the National Speakers Association. How is it similar and how is it different to Toastmasters?
Okay. I think it's similar in that it has different pathways that have to do with public speaking. I think its focus more is on becoming and doing speeches for profit out and about all over the world versus Toastmasters, which I joined to hone skills. And I think that's what most people join Toastmasters for, is to practice the skill of public speaking, which can be used in many different formats, not necessarily in the for profit world, to become an actual speaker that goes out and gets hired out and about.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So the NSA is really targeted towards people who are wanting to have a profession of public speaking where they're paid for speaking events. And in Toastmasters, you can work on those same skills, but we're really working on skills that are going to be useful in a large variety of situations, from the home to the church to the workplace to city hall, anywhere you might want to take those communication and leadership skills.
Sure, we had a young lady that came to our meeting this last Monday, and she was there because she got some feedback as she's been trying to interview to get into a PA school, that she needed her upper game on how she had face-to-face communication with people. So that's her reason for joining. So many different reasons to join Toastmasters, just to get better altogether at communicating outwardly to other people.
Yeah. So you have been a member of the National Speakers Association for 20 years.
Somewhere around there. I've lost
Yeah.
track of time at this point.
So being in that organization for so long, did you get up to like leadership positions in that organization?
No, I joined it to start a private company, which I did for many years, and I still do actually have a few clients that I still do just some corporate work with. But once I joined Willis-Knighton, I really didn't have time to go out and do my own for-profit business any longer. So I haven't really been active in NSA and never really researched going in to leadership positions there, as I quickly moved up into different positions here at Willis-Knighton.
So one last question about NSA before we move on from that topic.
Okay.
Do they have speech contests like Toastmasters has?
It's not a contest. So I think it's more seeing how well you can do in the arena of moving upward in public speaking itself. So the pathways are different than what we have in Toastmaster. Totally different kind of realm altogether.
Okay, so no contests. Well, then I am not interested because I love Toastmasters contests. We have so much fun in these contests. Tell me, like I said, we're going to talk more about your role as a contest, but why did you want to be the quality contest chair?
Well, it came about kind of backwards, I guess. Denise had sent out a blanket email to, I guess, different people all over the district itself. And one of my coworkers, who is also in Toastmasters, said, "You might find this interesting." So I reached out to Denise. She and I chatted back and forth a little bit for it. It seemed like something I could do to learn a little bit more about Toastmasters and how their contests and things are run, and still be able to do my full-time job on top of that. So it was more, sounds like interesting. So I think I'll take that on and see where I can go with it.
Yeah. Now we're on Zoom today, or not on Zoom. I'm sorry. We're on StreamYard, another video conferencing service, because you live out in East Texas. Is that right?
Nope, actually, I live in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh, Shreveport, Louisiana. So you're in Far East Texas.
Yes, well, you could say that. We're pretty close to that border right there.
Yeah, yeah, very very cool. And have you always did you grow up in Louisiana?
I've been here since probably around fifth grade, but no, I grew up in Minnesota and Ohio.
Okay. Fifth grade? I mean,
Yankee by birth.
that's practically growing up. I don't really remember anything before fifth grade anyways.
Yeah, that's probably a true statement.
Yeah. And so did you go to university to study for the corporate training world?
Nope, I went to college to become a high school PE teacher.
High school PE teacher, really?
Yes. And then quickly figured out that's not what I wanted to do in my life. So that kind of went by the wayside. But I've
Did
always liked to talk. Speech class is probably one of my favorite things in high school and when I took it in college. So I've always liked to stand in front of people and talk, but it was not what I studied to actually do in the world. It just sort of came about that way.
did you try teaching PE for a while and then decide that it wasn't for you, or by the time you finished school you'd already figured it out?
Yeah, I'd already figured it out. I decided going into working at a school and going that route was just not going to be fun at all.
Okay, well then how did you end up in corporate training?
Hmm. Kind of a wayward path. I did many different things out in industries, from waiting tables to being an office manager to running my own business. My husband and I own a company called Banners Plus, and from that, I'm an avid reader on team building and leadership skills. And people through our contacts through our banner company started asking me, hey, can you give us advice on this? Can you come talk to our teams about that? And so along that path, I eventually created a side business called Motivate Me, where I became more official at doing that. And that's where the NSA came into play, so that I could be a little bit more professional on that end. So that's sort of my journey.
So you are quite the entrepreneur. You've had several businesses that you've mentioned already in this conversation.
Yes, and a few more that I haven't. I
Okay.
just keep at it.
Yeah, and so you are still, in addition to your work for Willis-Knighton Health, you also have these businesses, right? Still?
Yes, Banners Plus is still in existence. My husband runs and operates that company. I have just a few clients through Motivate Me that I do continual work for over the years, but by far the majority of stuff I do now is simply my work with Willis-Knighton and working with the team of 8,000 people around here.
No. Very cool. That sounds like quite a handful. Well, we've definitely gotten a chance to know you better today, Bonnie. In our next conversations, we're going to hear all about contests, what you're doing with bringing contests back in person this year. I'm very excited to hear about that. But before we finish this conversation, do you have a call to action for our listeners?
I think my call to action for this is to start thinking about what would be fun to talk about in the two realms of contest content that is going to be offered out, and to just give it a whack. Try it. Go out there and do it. If you're in Toastmasters to become a better speaker, the only way you can do that is to get out and practice in front of people.
Yeah. So you said two realms. So you're referring to the Tall Tales speech contest and the international speech contest.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
So call up your VP of Education right now and tell them you want to compete.
There you go.
Okay, very perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much, Bonnie. And till our next conversation, this has been another episode of D50 After Dark, and we will see you next week when we talk with Bonnie about Quality Contest Chair in the coming contest season. See you then.